The clam exercise is used to help strengthen the gluteus medius muscle, which sits at the back of the hip. So when we're working through the exercise, that's the area that you should feel working or tightening up, so you can always use your fingertips throughout to check that it's working. So the starting position, you've got a pillow or a block between you and your outstretched arm. The feet, knees and hips are stacked on top of each other, and imagine you're lying against the wall, so if you just lift the feet up to check that everything's in line. Then, the lasers that are coming off the front of those pelvic bones, we want to roll them forward, so they're pointing down towards the floor rather than directly forwards. Then you're going to tuck that tailbone under to bring the pelvis into neutral, and then lengthen the hip towards the feet, so you're lengthening that top line of the body and creating a space underneath the waist. Fingertips just gently rest in front, relax the shoulder away from the ear. So level 1, the feet stay together, and on the outward breath you open the knee. You're only opening that knee as far as you can control without the hips rolling backwards. So outward breath to open, inward breath to control and close the knee back down. Level 2, we then repeat by lifting the feet off the floor and the knee opens at a slightly larger range of movement. Again, the emphasis on not letting the hips roll back. And then level 3, we straighten out the bottom leg, tuck the foot of the top leg behind the knee and open from that longer lever. Keep the hips nice and long through that top line and fingertips gently resting in front. These exercises are used to help strengthen the gluteus medius muscle, which sits to the back of the hip, and the variations of the side kick. So the starting position is similar to the clam, with that block between the head and outstretched arm. We then bend that underneath leg towards the chest this time. The lasers that are coming off those pelvic bones at the front are pointing down towards the mat rather than directly forwards. Tuck the tailbone under to bring the pelvis into neutral and lengthen that top line of the body by pushing that hip towards the feet, so you create that space underneath the waist. Fingertips resting just gently in front. We're going to lift and hold the top leg. Now as we lift the leg higher, we're going to rotate the foot outwards so the toes come up towards the ceiling, and as we lower the leg, we turn the toes down towards the floor. So toes up to lift the leg up, toes down to lower. So we're opening and closing the hip, increasing that external rotation used on that gluteus medius muscle. So you should start to feel a burn in the back of that muscle. We're starting to build up the strength and endurance of this muscle. And relax. An alternative exercise is to lift and hover the leg, maintaining that same position and drawing circles forwards or backwards with that top leg. Keep that body nice and long and the hips as still as possible. Again, you're looking for that burn, starting to build up in the back of that hip rather than travelling down the leg. And relax. The final variation is the alphabet exercise. So you start with that same position, but this time you're going to use the leg to write the alphabet. You can either use lowercase or uppercase letters. The bigger the letter, the harder you're going to have to work to control those hips and keep those lasers pointing forwards. Make note of what letter in the alphabet you start to feel the work in that gluteus medius muscle. You can then use that as your baseline measurement when you return to this exercise. For any of these 3 variations, if we want to make the exercise more challenging, we can straighten out the underneath leg, or alternatively, we can take the arm overhead, so we're challenging the balance a little bit more and repeat those exercises. Use these exercises on both legs.